Hey everybody, it's Mary. It is Saturday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm just adjusting my camera a little bit. All right, so this is Mary again with Stamps-N-Lingers. It is 7 o'clock and we are going to do us a little tutorial. So let me, off the side here, off the screen, I'm going to refresh my computer and hope it doesn't do like it just did a second ago where the screen completely went blank. It was still obviously on, but the screen was blank. I don't know if that means I'm fixing to need a new one or what exactly the deal is, but gonna have to do something. Make sure that doesn't happen. That's twice in one night. Hey, Marianne, Happy New Year. Appreciate you joining. Hi, Linda. Hi, Kathy. Kathy is the newest member of the Critters and Creatin' crew. She just joined as a demonstrator with me today or last night. Hard to say which one. I saw it this morning when I got up, so that was yay! Hey, Rosie, how are you? So anyway, I'm very glad to have you aboard, and Rosie's on board too, so it's very fun to have team members on. Hey, Karen. Hi, Nance. Hi, Patricia. Hello, Barbara. Thank you all for joining, and Happy New Year to everyone. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. I've got everything just cattywampus here. Just a second. We've been playing. Are you guys in organized mode? I guess I'm in organized mode. It's that time of year. We went and bought like 7 shelf sets and 67.2 million Tupperware, Rubbermaid thingy bobbers to put stuff in because, it's a lot easier to put stuff in it and hide it than to get rid of it. Hey, Daryl. Oh, Rosie, I'm sorry that Tom's under the weather. Let him know. Karen. All right, we got Daryl on too. Okay, so let's go. So this is the Power of Hope stamp set and bundle. I love that there is a stamp set bundled with an embossing folder. I don't know if you guys know how much I love embossing folders, but I do. When a new catalog comes out, I just go from A to Z and I buy every single embossing folder, some of which I never use, but I have to have them. It's just a thing. But this one is really cool. It's called the Stone 3D embossing folder, and it is what we're going to use today to make some slate. Can you see that? Can you see? Let me see if I can. Hey, Susan. Appreciate you joining tonight. Hi, Barbara. Can you see this background here? I swear to you, it may not be coming up in the camera, but it looks just like slate, like you put it on your sunroom floor, and it's even got a little bit of a shine from where it's been finished. And I have used the paper piecing technique. Do you guys know that one? To make my geisha lady. And a couple of other little things that I'm going to show you. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, also I used, y'all, let me just say this right now. If you have not already ordered the Stitched So Sweetly die set, I don't care if you don't order the bundle. I don't care if you don't order another thing. Well, I do care. Let me rephrase. I do care if you don't order another thing, but you simply must have the Stitched So Sweetly dies. It's on page 20. You gotta have them. They are the very, very bestest. Thank you, Barbara. Hey, Kathy, you are right. It is a great embossing folder. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to set this aside. I've got some card cuts and everything is on my blog for tomorrow. Just so you know, this will be my first challenge to play with as a guest designer for the Paper Players. So I hope for each Sunday in 2020 that you'll join me for a Paper Players card and look at what all the design team has to offer and hopefully play. Okay, so here's the card cuts. I've got a piece of basic gray that I have already embossed in the Stone 3D embossing folder. And then I have 2 pieces of Pool Party that are going to be matte. Then I've got some gray granite, and I've already cut, this is the largest of the rectangle dies in the Stitched So Sweetly, so I already cut that out. I decided to use gray granite for my inner liner instead of Whisper White because sometimes that's fun. And then I've got 2 pieces of DSP, and this one is going to be for her dress, and it is a piece of Peaceful Poppies DSP. And then the other one will be for her parasol or umbrella. Not really sure what geishas call their little umbrella doohickey, but we're going to call it a parasol because that's better than umbrella doohickey, I think. But this is going to be the paper, and this is actually a tropical oasis print, so that's kind of cool. I decided to go kind of geometric and keep it quiet because that, to me, seemed better for this particular set. Ooh, Karen, where are you going on vacation? That sounds fun. And then I have a thick Whisper White card base. And then I've got, of course, some paper for my envelope. So we'll set that aside. We're going to start with the basic gray, and I'm going to show you how to turn this piece of basic gray cardstock into my approximation of slate. And to do that, we're going to use some Pretty Peacock ink, some Mossy Meadow ink, some Pumpkin Pie ink, and then we're going to come across the top with the little bit of Pineapple Punch. Okay, so let's start. All I did, Denny, oh my gosh, I'm beyond jealous, beyond. You have a good time. Hey, Karen. Oh, you guys in Australia, my heart is with you and my prayers are with all of you. The fire, watching the fire stuff is just, is horrific. So I can't imagine being there in the middle of it. I wish we could send you some of our rain. I'd love to come meet you, Karen. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to open up your, this thing is called an ink pad. You're going to open up your ink pad and you're going to use the end that doesn't have the place for a name, just because you can get closer to it. And you're very lightly just going to swipe across the embossed pieces. You know what, though? I did the other side. I did the debossed. Sorry. So we're going to start again. Start fresh. Like that never even happened. Pretend it didn't happen. We're using the debossed side. Okay, so that's the side where the little indents go in. And I'm just kind of going across it with that to start with. And then we're going to give it a little blow. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Barb. Hi, Jerry. Appreciate you joining tonight. And then we're going to come across with the Mossy Meadow. And you know, every piece of slate is going to look different. So if you do this and yours doesn't look just like mine, just keep adding ink until you're happy with it. And I'm not pushing or anything. I'm just kind of scraping the ink pad across the piece of cardstock. And you can see that some of the pieces are getting a little darker than others, which is exactly how natural slate looks. Now I'm going to tell you, if you by any chance still have copper delicata ink, I would probably use my colors. I'd use the peacock and the mossy and maybe even the pumpkin, and then I would probably come back with a light little touch of that copper, because I think that would really, really give it a little bit of a bump. Okay, and to finish up, I'm going to go with my pumpkin pie ink pad. I'm going to let this dry just a little bit. Hey, Kathy. Hi, Lenny. Hi, Lynn from Southern New Jersey. I'm just drying this off just a little bit so that I get less transfer of ink onto my card or onto my other ink pad. And I'm just going to come across there, and all that does is it gives it that kind of, you know, slate can have kind of a yellowy look. And that's what this pumpkin pie starts to do. And you can even with this, if you can get it to get a little streaky. The first time I did this, I was like, oh, I got streaks. And then I realized, no, that's how natural stone looks. It's got some streaks in it. Okay. All right. And I think I'll put a little more there. Okay. So can you see how that has changed the gray to slate? I swear to you, it looks like slate. And because we did the debossed side, the gray is still gray, and it looks exactly like grout. I kind of like it a lot. Kind of like it a lot. Hey, Karen, I don't know what's going on. I can't ever decide. I don't know how any of the websites decide which particular browser they're going to like at any particular time, but it just boggles me sometimes. Okay, so the final piece is some pineapple punch ink, and I'm going to sponge it on. And I'm doing that because it freaked me out so bad when I dragged it across. It really darkened up my ink pad, and that freaked me out. So I'm using a sponge. If you don't freak so easy, you can certainly drag your ink pad across. It won't hurt it. You can kind of buff it out, if you know what I mean. But this works just as well. And all it's doing is just kind of blending all the colors together a little bit with a little bit of gold tint. Just a little bit. Okay. And that is that. That, ladies and gentlemen, is slate. And my ink pad is stuck. My ink pad is stuck. Hey, Roz, cold weather down there, eh? I'm sorry about that. We had about an hour today where we had no internet, so there was some worried moments. Okay, so now I'm going to take one of my old clear Wink of Stella's that has been replaced with water more times than I can tell you. This is my watercoloring clear Wink of Stella pad glitter brush, and I'm just kind of very lightly going across this. You know, most people, they seal their slate, and so for me this kind of gives it that kind of wet slate look. All right, so just like that. Okay, and now I'm going to set that aside and it'll dry while we get our sentiment together. I got to fix this because it's making me crazy. Okay. Hi, Donna. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Pam. All right, so now I'm going to pull out my Stampopotamus here. And we're going to play with our card front, which is where now? Yes, where? Here we go. Here it is. I found it. Okay. So remember, I cut a piece of gray granite with this Stitched So Sweetly rectangle, and I'm putting it out kind of on the edge. Now, here's the thing. You guys have probably, if you haven't, I would recommend it because I really like it. This is the deluxe foam mat for the Stamparatus. What I like about it is that it's got kind of a laminated top, and so you can use this to help you make sure that you're lining up your stamps. And I do that a lot of times even with a photopolymer because it really helps me to see it stamped against these lines. The only problem is you usually wouldn't use this foam mat with a cling stamp because it's too thick. So if you try to put your cardstock up in the corner like this and then stamp here, you're going to have some problems. What I have found is that it tends to put the stamp down on the cardstock kind of at an angle, and that gives you an odd image. So when I'm using a cling stamp and insist on using my foam mat because I want to line up, I will use the outside ruler edge, and then I use my magnets like this. Okay? So when I get ready to stamp, that's how I'm going to do it. First, though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my geisha where I think she's going to go, and then I'm going to put my sentiment where I think it's going to go, like that. Okay, and then I'm going to pick her up, and I'm going to pick up my sentiment with my pad. And I'm going to remove this. I'm going to ink up my sentiment and stamp my foam pad. That way I can make sure it is lined up. Karen, I feel so bad. I feel so bad for the people, and I feel so horrible for all the animals. It just kills me. I saw a thing on Facebook that said 500 million animals had died already. Now, I don't know if that's true. I mean, it was on the internet and it was on Facebook, which means for certain sure it's true. But even if they've got an extra comma in there, it's horrific. I really, truly can't watch, and I feel for you terribly. Okay, so we are using soft suede for both our geisha and our sentiment. So I'm going to go ahead and ink that up. And then all I'm doing, you see, is stamping my deluxe foam mat. I'm just double checking. Even with the sticker on, I like to double check that I have a straight image, okay? And then I wipe that off. Do you have to? No, of course not. But that means I could use the other side of my cardstock if I wanted to. Okay, so I'm putting it back, holding it with the magnets, and then we will emboss again. Note to self, when doing a camera show, ought to use the top hinge instead of the side hinge, because I can't open all the way to ink. It's very good because of the stand. Okay, and we're just going to ink that down. Now, I could absolutely have just done this straight up, but I like to be sure I've got a good image, and it really helps, especially when you're doing so tone on tone-ish. Okay, see, that took me 3 to get to the depth of color that I like. You can do it however you like. Now, on the off chance that I screw this up, I'm going to leave that stamp on the acrylic pad and turn the pad the other direction so that if I have to redo this, like that never happens, but if I were to have to redo this, then it would already be lined up. So I'm going to set the geisha on and pick her up and repeat that process. Yes, Cynthia, prayers, absolutely. Yes, Donna, I don't know how they would get an estimate like that, Nyoka, but it's horrific. Like I said, even if they've over-exaggerated, it's horrific. Okay, so I'm going to probably stamp her a couple of 3 times just to get her dark. Okay, and I'm going to leave her there, move my cardstock, and then I'm going to stamp her again, twice actually. Once on my piece of Peaceful Poppies, and I really do want to get a nice, whoops, I probably ought to get her all the way on, because I certainly need her dress, even if I don't need her parasol, but I want all of her. Now this is a pretty good image for doing the paper piecing, but it is easier if you've got it on a light piece of paper so that you can really see those lines good. Okay, and then I'm going to do it again one more time, this time on my Tropical Oasis DSP. And on this one, what's more critical than anything is to get the parasol or umbrella doohickey, depending on how you prefer to say it. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we'll put that aside. And I'm leaving everything set up on my Stamparatus, just in case. All right, so now we're going to do a little fussy cutting. Now, I wanted her kimono from the Peaceful Poppies, so I'm just going to give that a quick fussy cut. Like that. I may not be able to continue to talk whilst doing this because I have to hold my mouth just right, as you know. It's very important to hold your mouth just right. So let's see. So her dress is right there. Like this. Okay. Anyway, I've been reorganizing. I pulled the closet in my craft room. You know, I should have taken a before picture, but to be quite honest, I was a little too embarrassed. I just couldn't take a picture of it. But to say that it was a mess is an understatement of rather epic proportions. But what I did is I took everything out of it, including the big shelf, the big, like a 2-foot deep shelf, which means like almost all of it was completely useless. And I took out the curtain, the rod, the clothes rod, and I put in 2 3-foot shelves, and I've got everything on it. And at some point here, I'm going to, Karen, yeah, I would love to borrow your scan and cut for just a second. Donna got one too. Nice. I'm guessing Christmas present. All right. So anyway, I got it all. I've started to fill it up with stuff. I'm trying to keep it organized, but you know, it's going to take me a few days to figure out where everything should go, but we'll see. Maybe by the time of our crew meeting on Tuesday, I'll have it all done and I can show it to the team. Kathy, just in case you haven't seen the invite on our Facebook page, we're having a crew team meeting on Tuesday at 7 p.m. And we'd love to have you join. I will send you the link. Okay, now I should be quiet and make sure I'm cutting what I want to cut here. All right, so I'm just trying to cut the parasol here. So I'm going to cut right there. Probably the hardest piece of this. And I'm going to cut, they wear some kind of a scarf doohickey, I guess. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, let me see, okay, here we go. I'm going to cut just like this. So, and then I'm going to leave her hair. Okay. So really the hardest part is just being sure you're cutting the right portion of the image. All right, and there we go. Cut out her face, because her face shouldn't be pool party. No. Her face shouldn't be pool party. Okay. Now we can put that against our image. A to me from me. I like that. Well, I've heard you've been very, very good this year, Donna. So congratulations. Okay, now we're just going to put that there, and that's going to come off. That piece needs to come off. I'll tell you what I've had a hankering for, and no, it has nothing to do with stamping. Because I'm a demonstrator, I have this theory that if I want something, I can very easily say I need it, and then done, I don't even have to justify it to anybody. I just say it's a business expense and I need it to make my business be better. So I just buy it. So what I've had a hankering for, Pampered Chef. Yeah, I've been watching Pampered Chef. I was like, now how does Pampered Chef have anything to do with a scan and cut? I don't understand. And then I realized you meant Papered Chef. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, I buy whatever I think I need. Now what I'm doing here is I absolutely am taking my soft suede and I'm just kind of re-emphasizing that line just by barely touching the edge. And if I'm making this look hard, please excuse me, because that is not the intent. It is not hard at all. It probably just looks hard because it's little, and so it's hard for you to see it. But it's easy. Anywho, what I've had a hankering for, I want to grow light so that I can start my vegetable seeds like in a month on my countertop. And every time I start vegetable seeds, they always get really leggy, right? And then they fall over and die. And my theory is, and I've developed this theory after 3 years of failure, is that I don't have the light low enough. You know, you're supposed to, when the little seed guys come up, you're supposed to put the light like just a couple of inches above them so that they don't keep reaching for the light. So I want this grow system. That's what I'm going to get me pretty quick, any day now. All right, and we're going to put her kimono right like that. Isn't she so elegant? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to color her little scarf dooha right here with my soft suede marker. And then I'm just going to use some liquid glue. Business expense, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so just a little liquid glue and line up the image lines. Like that. And we'll put her umbrella doohickey on in the same exact fashion. And then just kind of move it around until it all lines up how you want it to. Now, I do want you to also take, the light needs to be low, exactly. And I can't make the light low because the light over my island is kind of what it is. Okay, and I'm just kind of making sure that I don't have any lines here that show from my cuts. And there you go. Okay, final answer, final thing. In the stamp set is this tree, and we're going to use it to add some kind of random geometric look here. Okay, and here's how we're gonna do it. Here's how we're gonna do it. Let me get this out of the way because it's being in my way. I'm gonna ink and I'm gonna stamp off once, okay? And then I'm just gonna randomly stamp around the lady. Stamp off once, re-ink and stamp a few times, stamp off once, re-ink and stamp a few times, like this. And it kind of creates a frame and a little bit of just textural image. Interest is the word I was looking for. Can you understand the words coming out of my mouth? All right. I kind of like that. I think we'll call that good. There we go. Oops, wait, I want one more right here. And I'm going to let that overlap just like that. Okay, so there we go. Brick blocks on the counter to support the lights. Well, that's what we did because we used shop lights. Yeah, that's what my husband says. We could use shop lights and bricks. I have this terrible suspicion that I may not be very good at it anyway, and so I need all the help I can get. Like some people buy scan and cuts, and I think I might need to have something that makes me feel guilty enough to take care of it. You know what I mean? All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and put my card front on my mat. This was Pool Party. And there we go. Okay, let's see, so I'll ask again. Are the Stitch So Sweetly dies rectangles different size than the other? Yes. Yes, they are different, and let me show you the other bigger thing that's different about them. Hang on, let me get the Stitch So Sweetly dies. Or not the Stitch So Sweetly, the rectangles. Okay, so here's the difference. You can see it really, really good when you see them next to each other. You see the scalloped edge on the Stitched So Sweetly die? Like this. Okay, so you get a scalloped edge. The Stitch So Sweetly gets one stitch line and a scalloped edge. The stitched rectangles get a solid straight edge and two stitched lines. Okay, so yeah, they are different. Now, could you use them to layer? Possibly. Let me look here. Let's see. That would be too big of a mat for me. I like a narrow mat, as you know. Now, this one, no, I don't think you could layer with them. So let's just put it that way. Certainly not with this as your mat. You might be able to go the other way. But you can see the proportions aren't the same. So these are longer and narrower than the stitch. So I would say, no, you're not going to want to use them together. But you are going to want the Stitch So Sweetly dies, I promise. They are really, really awesome. You're welcome, Karen. I am nothing if not a powerful enabler. All right, so let's see, where was I? Oh yes, I was matting this. Okay, now we're going to take some gray granite, half-inched woven ribbon, and we're going to carefully measure how much we need, just like that. That wasn't careful at all, but you got the gist of it. And we're going to figure out where our our pieced piece is going to go. Hi, Amy. Glad you could join. Thank you. You know, I don't get live notifications for a lot of people, and I don't know why, because I've checked. I get all the notifications. I've got everything set to all notifications. Sometimes I'll get a notification on Monday that somebody posted something on Sunday. And I'm like, well, that's not helpful at all. Not even a little bit. All right, so now I'm going to use glue dots. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the glue dots to wind me some ribbon. Let's wind me some ribbon. And it really actually makes me very annoyed and convinces me that Mark Zuckerberg doesn't really like us or want us to be happy. Okay, so I'm just going to use some glue dots at either end of my ribbon loopies. Oops. Stick on there now. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to double it back. Hang on, I've been talking too much. I have to have a drink. Stand by. Sorry for the little break. It was either that or you had to listen to a coughing fit. And I'm pretty certain that you didn't want that. Okay. I did learn a little trick from Facebook, unless this is what screwed me, is, you know, if you ever look at anything anywhere, then Facebook marks that down and says, oh, you apparently want to see all of the bad ads about people abusing their animals. So then I see all of the bad things about everybody who didn't feed their animals and who used them in dog fighting rings and all that other stuff. And so I've actually learned that there's a place where you can say, hide this ad, and all ads like it. And I did that. And so I'm hoping that that means it'll either work and I won't get so many of those things that really annoy me and make me sad for the whole rest of the day, or Mark is sitting somewhere in a dark room laughing hysterically and finding all of the horrible posts that he can to send to me. I don't know. Okay, so now I'm going to use some dimensionals. You knew I'd managed to get some of those in here. What is that? How come I have... Do you ever get glue dots just everywhere? I do. I just did. Okay, so I'm going to put some dimensionals on the top and the bottom of this panel. You know, I have to say, I wish I could get a slate floor, a real one, as quick as I got this slate card front. That would be really awesome. Hi, Cindy from Hazen, North Dakota. Is it snowy and cold up there? I hope you... Thank you, Daryl. I am assuming it's snowy and cold in Hazen, North Dakota. Okay, so now we're just going to center this on the card front, which will also put it over my ribbon how I want it. And in theory, that's straight. Okay. Now, my goodness, can you guys hear the wind? The wind is just going crazy outside right now. Just crazy outside. I don't like wind. You know, one day when we lived in New Mexico, a long time ago, I was home. Wayne was off somewhere. I'm not really sure where. He was traveling for something. And I was in my office doing something at my house, and all of a sudden I heard this horrible crashing sound. And when I went to see what it was, I opened my front door, and not 2 feet out the door was our giant cottonwood tree that was standing up and was then, right after that giant crash, laying down 2 feet outside my door and had barely missed crunching my house. So I've gotten to where I just really don't care all that much for wind. Okay, so you can see these were Coastal Cabana gems from the Holiday Rhinestone kit pack, and I've put them on my card front, and that is it. The card front is done. So let us go ahead and do a quick innards. We're going to do a quick innards, and I believe I am good to go to clean up and remove these because I didn't screw up the card front, and I don't have to fix it. Yay, me. Yay, me. And we're going to use this pretty little thing, sentiment. Today is a day for new beginnings. Not snowing and it's 38 degrees. Oh, that's like a, you know, like a heat wave. Wind warning. Apparently that's going to be the thing. Wind everywhere. Thank you, Pam. Appreciate those nice words. I liked how this turned out. I wasn't a huge fan of this stamp set at the beginning, but after playing with it for a few minutes, it's kind of growing on me. I liked a paper piece, and this is a really good set. I think the pagoda would make a cool paper piece. I'm going to have to try that one too. I like that. Okay, so once again, I'm going to set my stamp on my card panel and pick it up, and then I'm going to stamp it onto the, it did. I'm going to stamp it onto my deluxe foam mat just to be sure that I have a straight image, and it looks like the top of my words are all on the line, so we're going to call that good. It's usually you get pretty lucky when you've got your stickers on. You can usually get it pretty good, but it's always worth a check, I think. Doesn't take very long, and that deluxe foam pad makes it pretty easy. So we're going to stamp that a few times to get it dark enough. You guys are probably thinking, geez, Mare, maybe you ought to re-ink your ink pad, which is valid. Quite a valid statement. Probably should. Okay, that's good for that. We'll set that aside. And I'm going to do another little thing right here. Uh-oh. No, you don't want to have rain and then cold, because black ice is bad. I'm going to take my tree image, ink it with gray granite, and stamp it off once, and then just stamp it over the sentiment, like so. And then, because I can, and because I am really a fan, I'm going to add one more little holiday rhinestone jewel. And then, let's get our mat. Here we go. Come on, Matt. Oh, Matt, please come on. All right, here we go. Oops. There we go. And then we'll put it in our, well, that's an envelope. That's not what I was looking for at all. Here we go. We'll put it in our thick Whisper White card base. Thank you, Cindy. I try to be a hoot. Speaking of hoots, we have got several large owls, and when we walk in the evening, we can hear them. And I didn't know this, but you can almost make them talk to you. So we look like fools standing out on the driveway going, hoo, 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 hoo. And you can see him, and he's looking at us, and you can't see his eyeballs because he's a little bit too far away, but you know he's thinking, humans, really. It's really, you're the apex predator? Yeah, I don't think so. No, you're too dumb to be an apex predator. All right. Okay, here we go. But he sounds really cool. The other day it was a beautiful night, and it was cold, and there was like a quarter moon, and he was up there, and he was on, you could see his silhouette, and you could see his head moving, and listen to him. It was pretty neat. I thought it was cool. We are not going to put that many dimensionals. I mean, come on, Mary. I know you like dimensionals, but good Lord. Okay. All right, so we'll get this on and get the envelope finished. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Ooh, cool. Thank you, Karen. You are so sweet. You are so sweet. Gonna go RVing one day. Yes, we are. I have a theory. I'm gonna start my trip. I've got the Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives cookbook. Part of my decluttering and organizing endeavors yesterday was to unpack the bag of stuff that I got at my going away party back in August. Yeah, it has just been sitting, and I had forgotten that my old boss, my former boss, had gotten me the Guy Fieri Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives cookbook, and so now I'm all ready to plan my RVing around the country trip, going to all the Triple D spots. So there's our card. Very pretty. I do like this set. I have to say, I do like this set. Very serene. So I'm going to put on the front of my card in full strength gray granite. Oh, thank you, Barb. I'm going to put a full strength tree. Love this tree image. I always thought it would be cool to do bonsai, and then I decided it was mean to the tree. Yeah, I am that person. I am a complete and total goober. So I never did it. Also, I don't have the patience, so let's just go with that. I would do like one branch and be like, you've got to be kidding. How many branches have you got? Good Lord. We had a friend when I was growing up. Man, I am on a total randomizer. My brain is on a randomizer right now. We had a friend growing up, and he grew dichondra grass. It's like this little grass, these little grasses, and they're only about this tall, and they look like little clovers. And he'd be out there clipping with his scissors. With his scissors, he would be weeding. So if a Bermuda grass had the audacity to stick its little head up in his dichondra, he would be out there with his scissors like that. I was like, man, that is way too much time on your hands, dude. Way too much time. Okay, so this was just another piece of my Peaceful Poppy. I think, wouldn't this have been a pretty kimono if I'd had a different color scheme? This would have been a really pretty kimono, I think. See, look at that. I only had to go an hour to get the actual correct term. Not this lady's dress. Her kimono. Yes. But she's still carrying an umbrella doohickey, so I don't know what else to call it. Okay. All right, and there we go. Right there, like that. Aha, you do remember dichondra. Thank you, Marianne. All right, so there's that. All right, now, before we go, since I've got a few extra minutes, and I won't take up too many of your minutes, but I did want to remind you about the Celebration joining special, okay? So, you know that the starter kit is the world's bestest bundle anyway, even when it's not Celebration. But right now, not only for $99 do you get your $125 of your choice of products, but you also will get the new mini cutter. This is a little guillotine cutter. It cuts card fronts. It cuts little strips. If you're a scrapbooker, this would be awesome for cutting layouts for your scrapbooks. And a guillotine is very nice. This is a self-sharpening blade, so it will continue to sharpen as you use it. Nice for that. Then you also get a wonderful DSP sampler like this. And basically, you're going to get a sample of Peaceful Poppies, Country Club, Birthday Bonanza, Tropical Oasis, The Best Dressed, and some of the Lily inspirations from the Celebration. So a bunch of DSP, not all of every pack, just a sample of a sampling of packs. But that's quite a bit of DSP to get started with. Then you also get to choose your choice of stamp set, and it can be any stamp set in the catalog with the exception of a host set or a Celebration set. So you could pick the most expensive one. You could search in the store and say, tell me the most expensive stamp set here, and that could be the one that you picked. All right, so mini cutter, DSP, free stamp set of your choice, $125 worth of product. The kit ships to you for free. And for as long as you stay active, everything you buy is at least 20% off. What are you saying? I'm saying that's a pretty darn good deal. And if you join with me, you will be part of my Critters and Creatin' crew, which, as we all can imagine, is simply awesome. We have a Facebook page. We do team meetings. We're fixing to have a retreat in the fall. And I think we have a lot of fun. Rosie, I think we have a lot of fun. Kathy, you will know soon whether we have a lot of fun. So I hope you'll consider it. Give me a shout if you have any questions. There's info on my blog. But if you've ever given a shot, ever even given a thought to joining Stampin' Up. This is a great time. And if you join now, you will absolutely be active through at least the end of June, if not longer. And you really don't have to do anything else to stay that way. But you're going to want to, because 20% off, hello, that's a lot. All right. Oh, also, you'll get free catalogs and access to catalogs early, like, oh, I don't know, the 2021 annual catalog that'll come out at the end of spring. Just saying. All right, guys, I will see you next week. I appreciate you joining me, and have a wonderful, wonderful week. Y'all in Australia, keep your heads up. Thanks. Bye-bye. Oh, thank you.